I got an announcement for you guys. Turns out we no longer have superpowers. Now all we have is just one dream, one wish, which, I mean, doesn't really make a lot of sense when you think about it. The Straw Hats have multiple dreams and multiple wishes. It's not all about you, Luffy, alright? Well, no, I'm assuming what's it indicative of is, for the purposes of the Wano Arc, we all have one dream, one wish, to get rid of Kaido and return Wano to its former state of glory. Alright, so I don't know if you guys are aware. If you're not, go and get on the boat, because we got a brand new arc of One Piece in the anime, the Wano Arc started, and a brand new opening too. I'll be here to talk about both of them because the opening has some weird stuff in it. I know Sawyer already made a video about it. I watched his, and we also had Artur did the whole analysis over at the Library of Ohara. So check out those links below. I'm just going to go over it very briefly with the opening, but we'll be talking about the episode. It's a good episode. I enjoyed it. I like that they added some extra stuff in there to little, Zoro's subplot there with getting captured and, the whole seppuku scene and everything like that. It was a good first episode. Good first foot forward. I don't know if you guys realize this, but yeah, the Wano Arc officially started in the manga at chapter 909. Chapter 910 was when Luffy and Nami and Brook and everybody arrived on the island, so they kind of mixed it up a little bit, but I like that they did that. We didn't get that little snippet of Wano before we actually got to Wano. Now it's just like, okay, Luffy and everybody's on the island. No distractions, everybody's on Wano, we're just gonna pick up, from that point forward. Okay, great. So, let's start off with the opening. In terms of the song, it's good. My favorite part was easily the beginning and the end, though, because of that big, like, one dream, one wish, as Luffy's, like, struggling against the chains, and at the very end, he breaks the chains, and he brawls with Kaido. That's like, the best way to build hype. The rest of the song is good. I would have wished there would have been a few other high points throughout the song, like the big reveal of the headliners and the All-Stars. Like, we get to see Hold'em and Speed, then we see Jack and Queen and King in the opening. I thought there would be a little bit more of a big bombastic boom there. We didn't really get that, but it's still a good song. The major thing that a lot of people are looking at, I'm sure most of us are aware at this point if you've seen it, which if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Pause this, go watch it. Even if you've watched it again. I'm not really doing much of anything. Okay, you saw it? Alright, good. So, if you're an anime-only just watcher, I apologize, because, yeah, you've been spoiled for, like, the good 30 chapters of Wano there. Like, not every little detail, obviously, but there are some major events that were shown there. Now, there's some stuff I understand they had to include. Like, like Kaido being a dragon. Like, the way I look at this is, first off, Kaido appeared on a Tankobon cover as a dragon, like, months ago. Volume 92, he's right there as a dragon. I imagine most people in Japan are aware that Kaido's a dragon, and it's kind of like a meme on the internet, like, Kaido is a dragon, so it's just something so huge that happened in the manga that it's just going to spread all over the place, right? And also, I mean, like, Kaido is a dragon. Don't you want to see Luffy just fight him in the opening? Like, that's like perfect opening hype material right there. Alright, like when you have a character that can turn into a giant dragon fighting the main character, it's pretty much required by law to have that in the opening of your anime. Am I right? Oh, yeah, I require it. Yeah, right? Law said so, okay? So, I'm not too upset about that, alright? Even though they did add in a little bit spoilers there with Luffy's Gear 4 kind of showing some new level of hockey that he hasn't demonstrated yet. I mean, we figured, Luffy is mastering a better, version of armament hockey right now. We all figured he's going to get to the point where he can add it to Gear 4 and fight Kaido. We assumed that. We just haven't seen it yet in the manga, which leads to the other point. There's even some manga spoilers for this, for those of you that, like even me right now, everybody that's reading the manga on a weekly basis, potentially spoiled all that stuff. One more thing though, with the anime, the big thing that I was surprised by, that I really wish they would not have included in the opening, I don't even know why they put this in there, the execution of Yasuie is in there. I saw that and I'm like, really? Really? That just happened in the manga, like, a handful of chapters ago. That was a major turning point in the arc. Like, and you're just throwing that in there. Like, and by the way, when I first saw it, because the scene only lasts like a second, you see Yasue up on the the cross thing, and then this pans out really quickly. It went by so quick. I didn't think we actually saw him get executed. I thought it was just a scene of him up there, and like, all right, well, they don't actually spoil that he dies, it's just that he's up there, right? But no, if you go frame by frame, and in Artur, when I looked at his analysis, I saw it frame by frame. No, you show the bullet holes in him, so they just show it, like his execution, flat out. So Yasue doesn't really appear in the manga until about, I think, 20 or so chapters into the Wano arc, but as soon as he shows up in the anime, we're all gonna know immediately what his fate is going to be, so yeah, that's kind of weird they stuck that in there. I'm also kind of on the fence of them including the stealth black suit. I think they could have pretty much established the same basic effect by Sanji just taking out the raid suit canister and like pulling it. And maybe you could have had it like he goes into silhouette or something. Like you could just, he's like Sanji's whole body is just pure black or just pure white, and you could see like his eyes and like the outline of the stealth black suit, but we don't actually get to see what it looks like. I think they could have done that and it would have really established the same thing, but I wouldn't have even included the Yasue execution. I wouldn't have even gone that far into the arc. Yukimaru's in there too, and he doesn't show up for a little while in the manga, but still, I mean, that Yasue scene was weird. But the strangest thing, by far, in the opening, even stranger than Stranger Things Season 3, which I'm enjoying quite a bit right now, actually, is that they possibly revealed the identity of Denjiro. Denjiro, the last of the 9 red scabbards we haven't seen yet. We don't even know what he looks like or who he is or anything like that. Probably just revealed it right there in the opening. So there's a scene where we go through all 9 red scabbards, okay? We get to see Kinemon and Okiku and Kawamatsu in one scene right here, and Kawamatsu's way in the background and he's in silhouette, so he's like he is in the prison. That would have been really crazy, wouldn't it? Like we just found out what Kawamatsu looked like in the manga, and they just showed it in the opening like the next day. That would have been weird. We also get to see Raizo and Kanjuro. Alright, makes sense. Nekamamushi, Inarashi, okay, fine. And the last scene is Ashura Doji with Kyoshiro behind him. And this is like a back-to-back scene. What they're clearly doing is showcasing all 9 red scabbards, and there's Kyoshiro right there. So I guess it's confirmed now he's Denjiro. There's 2 ways I can look at this. One way is the simple way. He was Denjiro. He always was Denjiro. It's just he did something similar to what Yasue did and just changed his style a little bit so the other scabbards didn't recognize him, you know? Like look at what Kawamatsu did. Kawamatsu tried to escape Orochi and, protect Hiyori and everything, and was still very steadfastly loyal to the Kozuki clan and everything. He eventually ended up getting captured and thrown in prison. Maybe Denjiro did the opposite. He fled when Kaido and Orochi attacked the capital and everything and burned down the castle, but maybe Denjiro spent a little bit of time underground, he changed his appearance, and then he came out with the plan to get in Orochi's good graces. And so maybe he joined the Yakuza, he went under a different name, and he started just rising up the ranks because he figured the best way for him to avenge the Kozukis and take out Orochi would be to, get in his good favor, and then, when he's not looking, that's what you do. So that's one possibility what Denjiro could have done. The other possibility is that Denjiro actually died, and I talked about this when I don't remember if it was in the 9 Red Scabbards video or in the Kyoshiro video, but I talked about the possibility that because Kyoshiro is somebody that's very well established so far in Wano, we know his name, we know his position, and everything like that, he's a very strong swordsman, we're already aware of that, I threw out, it's possible that he might just turn out to be the last of the Scabbards, or Denjiro, the original, might have actually died in the 20-year gap. And so Kyoshiro's not Denjiro, but he's like gonna be his placeholder. So it's like maybe Kyoshiro approaches Kinemon and the rest of the rebellion, and he's like, hey, listen, I know we're not really allies, but I want to get Orochi out of power. You want to get Orochi out of power. So how about we team up? And they find out Denjiro died, and we could have a backstory involving him and everything, and what kind of guy he was like before his death. And then it's like, okay, we only have 8 of the 9 Scabbards, so maybe they make Kyoshiro like, all right, you're gonna be the new member of the Scabbards, so that we're 9 again, right? Somebody of Kyoshiro's status, even if he's not one of the original members, everybody in Wano knows about him. He's a very strong warrior, so I think it would still help if he was working for them and he became the next Scabbard. So Those are two possibilities I have. He was either the original Denjiro, changed his appearance, kind of just working behind the scenes because he clearly wants to take out Orochi, or he's not related to Denjiro at all, and it's just like, okay, well, he died, so we gotta make you the next one. Or, I guess third possibility, he could have been related to Denjiro. He might have been Denjiro's son or brother or something like that, and then he died and passed on the mantle to him, and he just, like, took out, like, okay, well, you know, my father or my brother passed away, but he gave me this symbol, he gave me this note to give to you, and I will be your ally for this battle. That could be a possibility too. But yeah, that's the opening. If you want the full analysis, go and check out Artur's page or go watch Sawyers' video. I'll put links to those in the description below. Alright, so now, moving on to the episode itself. So the episode is mostly an adaptation of Chapter 909, the first time we get to see Wano properly in the manga. We get to see the Flower Capital, we get to see Komurasaki in full view. That was a good addition because in the manga, all we saw was that figure wearing the fox mask, but in the anime, we get to see that in full view. So it's very, very clearly Komurasaki that's playing it, and the playing of the shamisen is actually kind of a nice little beat. They do it for the rising actions when something's about to happen. You know, it's like, oh boy, this is getting intense, and then they start playing it. It's got faster, much more faster pace and everything, and then, you know, oh no, something happened. Dun! And they stop. It's silence. So that'll probably be something that's going to be carried probably throughout the entire arc. They're probably not going to overuse it, but that's definitely something that you can use to just, like, make it a little bit more intense, right? So, we get to see what's up with Frankie and Usopp and Robin. It's been the first time we've seen them in the anime for a very long time, so that was just nice. Their little subplots don't really get expanded upon very much. You know, Frankie doing the carpentry work, and there's Minatomo there who's like, hey, who fixed this? I'm like, I did, boss. I'm like, well, it's perfect. You should be happy about yourself, you damn bastard. So we get that. We get Usopp doing his toad oil sale kind of thing. That looks pretty cool. Robin's scene was adorable to me. I don't know why. I just loved it. Maybe it's just because I'm going through Robin withdrawal, haven't seen her in the anime in forever, but she's doing the geisha dance and everything, and that old lady's there playing the shamisen, and she's doing the geisha thing, and there's the scene where the old lady's like, you need to lower your hips and, you know, raise this or do all this other stuff to be a geisha, to be a proper geisha, to get into the castle, and Robin has her fan, and she just kind of lifts it above her face, and she's just like, hi. And I'm like, oh, Robin, you're just perfect in so many ways. But no, the main focus of this episode, other than just, you know, the big grandeur of Wano, is expanding upon Zoro's story. Okay, so in the manga, when we first get introduced to Zoro, we just see him at the execution site, essentially. He's wearing everybody's in white, and he has the seppuku knife, and they're just giving us basically backstory of what happened. How he was a Ronin, and how he was arrested for a crime. There was some bloodshed, and, you know, there's the magistrate up there, and he's just like, okay, well, you're gonna, you know, the seppuku is too good for you, but you will do it anyway. And so he's up there, and he gets his hands on Shusui, which is, of course, Ryuma's sword, and he just kind of looks at it and is like, I have Shusui now. And the end of the chapter is Zoro sensing blood on the magistrate, and so he takes the knife and slices it down. So a few things were added. The first thing that gets added was the whole lead up to that. Alright, we get to see Zoro walking around Wano, just chilling out, and nobody's bothering him. We see him walking around, going into a bar, getting some sake, walking out with a big glug of it. It's night, Wano, you know, it's the moon, and the cherry blossoms are falling, and it's very beautiful, and Zoro's even just like, I should get a nice spot to just moon gaze later. He's just sipping his sake. So meanwhile, we get to see what happened. We get to see this random person get sliced down by who we know as the magistrate, and he runs away, and Zoro kind of stops him in the middle of the road like, hey, you smell like blood. And so they're kind of staring at each other there, and they're about to fight, when all of a sudden the crowd shows up, the police of Wano, and they have the lanterns that are like, have the kanji for arrest on them, and they just hold them up to Zoro like, it's like, hey, you're under arrest! And Zoro's like, he's very nonchalant about it. He doesn't really go over the top trying to clear his name. He does a very Zoro kind of thing, where he's just like, hey, yeah, that slasher, that murderer dude, he ran that way. And they just all kind of stop, and it's like, no, you're under arrest, you're under arrest, you're under arrest! And I'm like, yeah, guys, no, he's back that way. Alright, crap, I guess I'm under arrest. So he just kind of goes along with it. I hope we get scenes like that maybe a little bit more, because there's a few moments in Wano where we skip around to various locations, or we skip around in terms of time. Like, there was that moment at the palace, where, you know, everyone's going in chaos, and Nami brings down the lightning bolt, and then we just cut to, like, the next day. So there's a few times in Wano where you can add just a little bit of extra stuff for flavor. It's filler, technically, but it's good. I think it adds a little bit more to, like, the buildup of why Zoro is where he's at. Okay, so I'm fine with that. The other thing that gets added in, kind of a big thing, is when Zoro picks up the knife, and it's elaborated on a little bit more. In the manga, it's basically just, like, him picking up the knife and then pointing at the magistrate and, like, you're the one that smells like blood. And then he takes the blade and just slices down the freaking area where the magistrate's, you know, sitting down, and he gets sliced open, and everyone just comes attack. He's at Zoro. So in this version, he actually picks up the knife, and we get to see him, like, stop, like, right here. And then everyone just immediately like, and then Zoro takes the knife, and then he does the thing where he looks like, you smell like blood, and then he uses armament hockey on the knife, which looks a lot more demonic, where you get to see, like, the aura, like, coming off of it. And I know we kind of saw that in Dressrosa, but it fits Zoro, you know, his armament hockey being a little bit more demonic in aura than Luffy's is, because you get to see it, like, oozing off of it. And then he does the slicing maneuver, which makes a lot more sense that he was able to accomplish it when he added hockey to the blade with such a tiny blade that it was, and it wasn't even meant for combat. So then Zoro slices down the magistrate, and then he proceeds to fight his way through all of the other people that were there at the time, picks up a sword, slices down people, and everything like that. So that's how that goes. And the very last scene of the episode is Luffy on the beach, waking up to seeing the Koma Inu rushing toward him. I think they missed a beat there. I really hope they would have ended that episode the same way they did in the manga, where the Koma Inu runs out, but then the baboon runs out with the katana, and Luffy's line was like, I'm definitely in Wano. That would have been a perfect way to end the episode, because we are in Wano. That would have been like a meta joke, like a fourth wall kind of break at the audience. You know, this Luffy's sitting there on the beach, all of a sudden Koma Inu pops out, and he's like, what, am I in Wano? And then a baboon with a katana walks out, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I'm totally in Wano. Boom! To be continued. That's all you had to do, Toei. It would have taken like 5 extra seconds. Oh, but okay, fine, whatever. We'll get it next episode, I guess. So yeah, that's the first episode. Now, the new animation quality, I think it looks good. You know, it's different, you know, and One Piece has been going on for 20 years in the anime. Actually, this is the 20th anniversary coming up. They're releasing the Romance Dawn 20th anniversary special as this year's OVA, so get hyped for that. But yeah, I mean, like, they've gone through plenty of different animations throughout the years. Some are a little bit more jarring than others, some are a little bit more low quality than others, but this one I think will do just fine. Just by the fact that in the opening of the episode, they have, like, writing out just like Wano Country Arc, One Piece. This is something that, I mean, it's Japan. I mean, that's where One Piece comes from, and this is the arc all focused around Edo period Japan. So this is the thing they're putting their first foot forward, okay? This is like all of their culture represented in this hugely popular anime. All right, so yeah, the animation, it's good. It's just gonna take some getting used to for me, but I'm fine with that. I like the fluidness of it and this was something we saw in all the trailers of Zoro, you know, fighting all the other people at the seppuku grounds and everything like that. You know, we got to see that already in the trailer. I'm glad about that. Most of the stuff we saw in the trailer, in fact, I want to say almost everything in the trailer, was in this episode. So it wasn't like they were spoiling a lot of stuff later on in the anime in the trailer. Most of it was Zoro walking around Wano, what the flower capital looked like, Frankie as a carpenter, Usopp as a salesman, Robin as a geisha, Luffy witnessing the Koma Inu. I guess there were a few scenes in the trailer, because we get to see Tama in the trailer. We don't get to see Tama in this episode. We kind of do. She's in a bag, you know, whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, a little girl in a bag. It's fine. It's okay. She gets out of the bag. So, yeah, there's a few scenes in the trailer that go beyond that, but nothing crazy. And I guess Tengu. We don't get to see Tengu in this episode. He's in the trailer. But, yeah, I would have reworked the opening, certainly. I would have probably changed the Stealth Black reveal. I would have changed, you know, Yasui. I would just have not even been there. You could have included Yasui in the intro. You could have easily done that. You could have had Yasui running around Ebisu Town playing with a bunch of kids or something as his little part of the intro. That would have been fine. But, yeah, that's a weird thing to show there. Just his demise right there, right out in front and center. Aside from that, the opening, like, we see Hawkins as Straw Man. That's something that happens relatively early on in the arc. That's not a big deal. We don't get to see Drake or Page One's dinosaur forms. I don't believe they were in the intro at all. And also, one more thing. You know, Wano's gonna be a really long arc. Like, Tautland had 2 openings, and Hope, the first opening for Tautland lasted a really long time. It lasted, like, I think 50 or 60 episodes or something. It was a long time. Superpowers only lasted, like, 30. But even so, Tautland had 2 intros. I'm sure, in fact, I guarantee you, Wano is gonna have more than 1 opening. So if this opening isn't your speed, we're probably not going to be stuck with it the entire runtime of the arc. Especially since we're not even through Act 2 yet, and there's 5 acts in total, so I think there'll be a lot more space. And if they add a few extra things in along the way, like they did in this episode, yeah, we're going to get a lot more episodes of Wano, and there'll probably be at least maybe even 3 openings to it entirely. But anyway, let me know what you think about this first episode of the Wano arc below. I don't think I'm going to be doing this like every week, like not like an episode review every single week, but I felt like considering it took us this long to get here, I should have talked about it today, and that opening was a little weird. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you feel about it below, and check out those links to Artur and Sawyer. Have a great day, everybody. This will be Tekking signing out. One dream, one wish, one door.